Alright, and we're live. What's going on, squad? How we doing today? It's a Monday. Got 10 hours down on a Monday. Not too bad, you know. Can't complain. Hope you guys' Monday is going okay. I know out here in New England we had kind of a shitty rainy day as usual, but, you know, it comes with the territory. Just give me a minute. Let me pull up my stream. Get the chat open. Alright, looks good. Looks good. So today we're going to have a nice chill day. Yesterday I went kind of hard with the set review for all the commons and uncommons. So I hope you guys caught that. If you didn't catch it, you can find the Twitch VOD. You could also find it up on YouTube. Yeah, you know, go check it out. We think we had some good discussions about some of the cards and a lot of the mechanics and the synergy that we're going to see in this upcoming set. So it looks pretty sweet, man. I don't know. Lots of artifacts, lots of enchantments, lots of stuff like that. A lot more than usual, and you know, I think some of that plays pretty well sometimes. Like, again, Theros Beyond Death is my favorite set of all time, so I think I see some of that in this set. And there's also just really cool flavor. We got samurais and ninjas and dragons and cool architecture. So yeah, today we're just going to look at some rares, look at some mythic rares, talk about them a little bit, see what's good, what isn't for limited, and just have some fun, man. Just relax. Nice chill day. I you know, see what they came up with. Like, yeah, I like to always see what they come up. This is where they really have their fun in R&D. So I think we'll get to see some good stuff. I think I'm hoping not to see quite as busted shit as Crimson Vow. You know, at least if there is crazy busted shit, I hope it costs more than 4 mana. But we'll see what they came up with here. I'm looking forward to it. So I guess we could just get into it here. I got my coffee. I'm kind of ready to go. Yeah, let's just get into it, start talking a little bit. So, also, before we start, tomorrow, I guess, well, tomorrow and Wednesday, I will probably be doing Crimson Vow streams, just drafting, just to kind of say goodbye to the set, and probably do a little bit of, you know, like talking about it and kind of my thoughts on giving my thoughts on the set as a whole and how it was for me, and I don't know, it could be cool, like, just to revisit it. I think this was a pretty impactful set for me. I feel like I leveled up a lot during it. I did pretty damn well in this set early, and then, you know, just kind of burnt out on it because it seemed to go for so long. I don't know, but I don't know if you guys feel the same way. I know a lot of people really didn't like Crimson Vow, which there's a good reason for, I think. I don't think it's the best set ever. It's not my favorite set, but it, you know, I think it was balanced, and I think that's kind of cool. Like, I felt like I could play almost whatever I wanted to. After I gave up on green-white, I finally, you know, just started to do a lot better. And you know, but that was like the only color pair that I thought was really just unplayable. So I think the rest of it is, you know, you ended up in a lot of different decks. You ended up doing some cool stuff if you were just open and allowed the draft to take you in that direction. And a lot of really high skill games when they didn't play, like, you know, one of the 4 mana busted cards. So I had a lot of fun with the set, so I'd like to talk a little bit more about it, talk about my favorite cards from it and stuff. So we'll probably do some of that tomorrow and Wednesday, prior to drafting the shit out of Kamigawa once this comes out. So we'll get into all that, but that's just something to keep on your radar. So we'll get started on this. So, first card we have March of the Otherworldly Light. This is X and a white for an instant at rare. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you may exile any number of white cards from your hands. The spell costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way. And then you get to exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment with mana value extra less. Okay. So this hits, pretty much whatever you want it to, and you can pay, the mana cost to get rid of it, or if you have dead cards in your hand, you can do that as well. I think planes count for this as well. So if you have excess planes and you have this, you have this card, you could hold them and discard 3 and exile a 7-drop or something like that. And this does hit everything that you want it to, pretty much every relevant thing except planeswalkers, which I haven't seen a planeswalker yet, so maybe we'll see. I'm sure we'll see some tonight, but I actually haven't looked at any rares or mythic rares yet. I have no idea if there are planeswalkers. I imagine there are, but so yeah, I mean this is sweet. This is a pretty efficient removal spell. You'll play this. It's nice and versatile. I like it. I also love whatever the hell is going on here. We got a rabbit. It looks like some kind of a woodsman. I think that's like this lady's flying. It's a lizard guy. Yeah, that's Otherworldly. Alright. Pretty good. Pretty cool. Alright. Light Pause. Emperor's Voice. Here we go. 1 and a white for a legendary creature, Fox Advisor. It's rare. Whenever an aura enters the battlefield under your control, if you cast it, you may search your library for an aura card with mana value less than or equal to that aura, and with a different name than each aura you control. Put that card onto the battlefield attached to Light Pause, Emperor's Voice, then shuffle. By the way, he's a 2/2. I missed that. Yeah, so, I mean, that's pretty sweet. White has lots of auras and stuff like that. So if you have a few in your deck, I don't think this is going to be extremely relevant for limited, but it could get there. I don't know if I'd first pick this card, depending on what else is in the deck, but you could certainly build around this. Like if you got 4 or 5 auras, and you slap one on something, and then you just start getting free aura cards out of your deck and putting them on this guy, that could be okay. Not in love with it, but it's a cool card. I like foxes. Not bad. Not great, not bad. Lion Sash. 1 and a white for an artifact creature, Equipment Cat. At rare, it's a 1/1. You can pay white, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a permanent card, put a +1/+1 counter on Lion Sash. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each +1/+1 counter on Lion Sash, and it reconfigures for 2. This card is sick. This is a first pick card. This is a card you are very happy to get your hands on. That's crazy. Anytime something goes to a graveyard, you just pay the mana and exile it, get the counter, and then you're just swinging around this Equipment Cat, which is extremely cheap to reconfigure. If you get a couple counters on this, it's already really good, and I'm sure it's going to go off a lot more than that sometimes, so I'm impressed. I like the Lion Sash, for sure. Cloudsteel Kieran. This is 2 and a white for an artifact creature, Equipment Kieran. It's rare, it's a 3/2. It has flying. Equipped creature has flying, and you can't lose the game, and your opponents can't win the game. Reconfigure 5. Okay, so it has to be equipped on a creature for that line of text to appear, which is good, because that's probably my least favorite line of text in the game. I just don't think that's very fun, to have cards that are like, oh, you just can't If you can't remove this, you can't win. Like, why is that in the game, you know? So I don't love the design of this, but I do think it's kind of reasonable. Reconfigure 5 is a pretty big cost. And if you get, you know, just get this off the battlefield before they can reconfigure 5, then it's, you know, it's gone. And also, if you can kill the thing. I mean, this is ridiculous, though, because they could just keep doing it. Like, if it is late game and they have tons of mana, you just literally can't win. Unless you could win the turn that you remove the creature, like if you could bounce it or something. Ugh. So, I mean, that's two kind of ridiculous equipment creatures at rare already. Like, very cheap. Very, I think Lion Sash is better than this, but I mean, it's pretty damn good, man. It's pretty damn good, and it's, you know, this is going to be a card that you don't want. Like, if you see this, you're going to just feel terrible, and you're going to be, I mean, it puts you on a clock. Like, you have to end the game quickly. I think if you see this, you just take your most aggressive line. Okay, the Restoration of Ejango. 2 and a white for a Saga. It's rare. First one, you search your library for a basic Plains card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle it. I like that. 2, you may discard a card. When you do, return target permanent card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Okay. Yeah, so if you discard a land, you could discard the land you found in the first step. If you don't have anything better to discard, and then you get a 2-drop back, not bad, or another land in your graveyard or something, and it just goes straight to the battlefield. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. And then the third one, you exile it, return it, and it becomes Architect of Restoration. Enchantment creature, Fox Monk. It's a 3/4 with Vigilance. Whenever it attacks or blocks, create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token. Here we go. Yeah, so your 3/4 Vigilance, which is a nice stat line, just kind of starts getting you tons of extra value. If you have ways to get it through, amazing. This is just good by itself. I mean, 3 mana for this, just this alone, would be filthy, and then you also get to like get all this like cool value stuff going on with the 1 and 2. Like, at worst you get a Plains, and then at best you like get to put a 2-drop onto the battlefield for free from your graveyard. So yeah, I feel like it might be better if it was just 3 mana for this 3/4, but it's okay. Still very good. Like, I would play this all day. Kyodai, Soul of Kamigawa. 3 and a white for a legendary creature, Dragon Spirit. It's rare. It's a 3/3. It has flash and it flies. When Kyodai, Soul of Kamigawa, enters the battlefield, another target permanent gains indestructible for as long as you control Kyodai. Wow, so it's not even until end of turn. He just gives something permanent indestructible. Jeez, man. Ugh. And then you can pay Wooburg to give it +5/+5 until end of turn. So thankfully that's not going to come up much. That being said, I mean, he's a 3/3 flash flyer. You know, the idea here is you either win combat with that indestructible ability, or you like just bounce their removal spell. God, that's gross. And then it's just a 3/3 flyer by itself. Jeez, man. Well, I guess there's going to be some dragons that are pretty good. I guess that was to be expected from Kamigawa, but Yeah, there's a 4 mana card that'll ruin your fucking day. At least, I mean, this is not Toxic Slug. This can be beat. Like, you know, it's not going to be easy to beat. If they play this while you're at parity, it's, you know, they're probably going to win. But if you're way ahead, you could still at least attack around and do some other stuff. But, you know, you could kill this thing and then they lose their indestructible. You can also bait them with that. Like, if they're just swinging at you thinking that they have indestructible, and then you, like, abrade this or whatever. It's not called abrade, it's a different spell in this set, but I'll learn all that stuff eventually. But you know what I mean. You hit them with the 2 mana, deal 3 on this, and then you block their thing, and now they just got kind of blown out. So there's some applications of where this is not going to be as good as it looks. But overall, ridiculously powerful card. Get your hands on this and play it if you can. Oh, pretty cool. The Wandering Emperor. Here's the Planeswalker. It's 2 white for a 3 loyalty Planeswalker. It's mythic rare. It has flash. As long as the Wandering Emperor enters the battlefield this turn, you may activate her loyalty abilities anytime you could cast an instant. Okay. So you could play this on their turn and activate the abilities. So you could +1 to put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature. It gains first strike until end of turn. Alright. You can -1 to create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with vigilance. And you can -2 to exile target tapped creature and you gain 2 life. So this is pretty sweet. So yeah, you hold this up. You wait for them to, you know, declare attacks. And then you flash this in, and you get to pretty much pick whatever the best option is for you. If they have some giant threat that you're not going to be able to kill, you just -2 and exile it and gain 2, which is just all that is so good, especially when you're behind. You can +1 to put a +1/+1 counter on one of your creatures, you know, block it, give it first strike, and like just win a combat. Or you could also just make start making creatures. You just make samurai. That's probably what you're going to do after you do the initial, whatever your initial move is. Then you probably just, because you can only use the instant loyalty ability when you flash it in. So, I mean, or on the turn you flash it in, rather. So yeah, I mean, I like this. This thing is going to be sweet. I mean, this is just a blowout waiting to happen. And then it just gives you a ton of value. Like, if you get 6, you know, you get 3 2/2 white samurai for 6 mana, that's pretty damn good. Or you just, I mean, this, at worst, this thing is like Dormant Grove, right? You just like start passing out +1/+1 counters. And we've seen how good that can be, so. And then they just can't really attack you either, because you can just exile their stuff. So yeah, I mean, this looks really good. Okay, Ayo, the Dawn Sky. Look at this thing. Another Dragon Spirit? There's 2 in white? Really? This thing's mythic rare, though, so this is going to be even worse, probably. It's 3 white for a mythic rare legendary creature Dragon Spirit. It's a 5/4. It has flying and vigilance. I think we're going to call this thing Ow, because that's what you're going to say when you play against it. Okay, when it dies, choose one. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Put any number of non-land permanent cards with total mana value 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Okay, total mana value 4 or less. So you can't just play 7 4-drops. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay, that's reasonable. Or you could put 2+1/+1 counters on each permanent you control that's a creature or a vehicle. Wow. Yeah, alright, so this thing slaps itself on the field. It's a 5/4 flying vigilance. And you feel really bad about the opponent having a 5/4 flying vigilance, so you say, you know what, I'm going to get rid of this thing. You find a way to get rid of it, and then their whole team just gets buffed with +2/+2 permanently. Yikes. Yeah, I mean, this card's a fucking house, clearly. And then if you don't have... Like, this is so good, too, because if you don't have anything on the field that is worth... Like, if you're behind when you have this out, which... You know, I could envision that thing where you need to just play this in trade with something or you're going to lose. But then you just get to go and just play free 4 mana worth of cards. Well, you have to look at 7, so you're going to find something. Yeah, I mean, pretty ridiculous, man. Pretty ridiculous. You're going to hate to see this card. Okay, Invoke Justice. Here we go. 1 white. That is 1 and 4 white for a sorcery. It's rare. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then distribute 4 +1/+1 counters among any number of creatures and or vehicles target player controls. So I'm probably out on this. This just doesn't look that good for limited. That's too much white to reliably be able to play this when you want to. It's not bad though. The effect is like good. You get to just throw something back from your hand, from your graveyard to the battlefield, and then just buff your whole team, or you know, buff one creature. There's that's a good effect for the mana cost that it's asking you. It's just, I mean, it's too hard to get to in limited. I mean, unless mono colored decks are going to be a thing, which I guess there could be like some mono white aggro stuff going on. So, you know, if you want to try that and try to make this work, let me know how it goes for you. I'm curious. I'm hopeful. I want to believe you can do something with this. So definitely keep me posted on how this works out for you guys. I don't think I'm going to look to play this necessarily, unless I think that mono white is going to be a thing that I want to do. If I was already mono white and I got this pack 3 or something, I would be stoked. But I don't know how often that's going to happen. Alright, Farewell. 4 white for a sorcery. It's rare. Choose one or more. Exile all artifacts, exile all creatures, all enchantments, or all graveyards. You could choose all of those. So you could exile everything on the board if you wanted to. I mean, except Planeswalkers, of course. No, you know, I'm not going to play this, but you could see how one might, if you're really behind. I mean, still, it's a sorcery, though. It's 6 mana. Like, this is your turn. They're going to get to play the first creature back on the board. You know, so I don't know. I don't think so for me, but it's a little too expensive for this effect. But it is cool this hits everything, and you know, once in a while someone will beat you with that, I'm sure. Brilliant Restoration. 3 white. That's 3 and 4 white mana for a sorcery at rare. Return all artifact and enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Now, this is a constructed card for some kind of weird artifact enchantment deck. This is not going to work in limited. Too expensive, too hard to set up, too hard to cast with the mana cost. So, you know, cool, but not really playable. Alright, we're going to blue. Those white cards, I mean, these, look at, like, alright, so we had, you know, we started out with, like, some mediocre, like, this one was good. Lion Sash is amazing. This card's pretty damn good, the Kieran. Light Pause is meh. But then, like, you get this Saga that's, you know, pretty damn good. Not, like, not quite as good as Lion Sash or the Kieran either, probably. But still, like, pretty good. Like, definitely on par with the March, and those are both good cards. Then you get, like, Kyodai. You get the Wandering Empire and Ow right in a row. And it's just like, holy shit. Like, that is a fucking line of cards right there. Those three. So, a couple of very powerful dragons and some cool stuff going on there, though. I like it. I like it. March of the Swirling Mist. This is X blue for an instant. It's rare. As an additional cost... Okay, so this is going to be a cycle of these. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may exile any number of blue cards from your hand. The spell costs 2 less to cast for each card exile this way. Up to X target creatures phase out. Nope. I don't think so. I mean, I guess if you're like a tempo deck is where I'd want to play this, because then you could use this just as your finisher, right? If you pay like 5 and remove 4 of their things from the board and just swing with everything, and you know you're gonna get lethal through, then yeah, I mean this could work. Yeah, and they don't come back, so you could do this at like the end of their turn too. All right, I'm higher on this than my initial read of it. Yeah, that's gonna be kind of cool. That's gonna be a good finisher for a lot of blue decks, I think. But like I'm thinking blue red is probably gonna really like this card. Blue green, I don't think we'll need it. But this pretty much says, like... I mean, this is like Frostveil Ambush, kind of, but... You're making them phase out, and you just get to... I mean, that's... You get a lot of like, you get a lot of, It's like if you're going to win the game anyway, you don't care about discarding all your cards. You just say, okay, fuck it, I'm going to discard 4 of my blue cards, and then pay 4 and like tap 8 of your things. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. This card is pretty good. I didn't like it when I first read it. I didn't read it close enough. That's pretty damn good. I'm in there. Thousand Face Shadow creature, human ninja. It's rare. It's a 1/1. It has ninjutsu for. I don't know if I mentioned it. Also just costs a single blue mana, but the ninjutsu cost is 2 gray, blue. It has flying. When it ETBs from your hand, if it's attacking, create a token that's a copy of another target attacking creature. The token enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. Okay. So you want a ninjutsu this in so that you get the token. It's not very good if you don't. It's just a 1/1 flyer that doesn't do much for you. You really need to get the extra value there. So this is like this is a 4 mana 1/1 flyer is how you should think of this. That's going to bounce one of your creatures. This card's good, but it's pretty situational, actually. There's a lot that needs to go right for this card to go off. First of all, you have to have a card that's worth copying. That card has to be attacking. And you need to pay for... yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. This doesn't look quite good enough to me. I'm sure you'll take this in any ninja deck. You probably take this and be happy. At worst comes to worst, it's a 1/1 flyer that you can then ninjutsu off of. And I guess if you start doing stuff like that, then you can cast this multiple times. So yeah, okay. I don't mind it. There's definitely going to be applications for it, and there's going to be situations where this card looks really good.
I think it is pretty good. You know, it's pretty good. It's not like this most busted rare, but pretty good. The Reality Chip, 1 in a blue for a legendary artifact creature, Equipment Jellyfish. It's rare. It's a 0/4. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. As long as the Reality Chip is attached to a creature, you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. Wow. And then you reconfigure it for 2 in a blue. Experimental Frenzy, but blue and without the downside. I guess you have to pay more for it. It costs you 5 instead of 3, but or was Frenzy 4? I don't remember. It's been so long since I played that card. Like played Constructed. I don't exactly remember how much Frenzy costed. I think 4. Was it 3? I'm not sure. Anyway, this is not that much more expensive than that, and you can just reattach it if you want to do that. Like if they kill the thing that it's attached to. But I mean, just the go off potential on this is ridiculous. This is a clear, like obviously a first pick card. If you ever just strap this on one of your creatures and it sticks for a couple of turns, the card advantage is ludicrous. You just go until you hit 2 lands, and then you like thin your deck and all kinds of other good stuff for you. So I'm a big fan. I'm in on the Reality Chip, and I think you want to play like a low curve deck if you want to get the most value out of this, but that's going to be good in any deck. So Mindlink Mech. This is 2 in a blue for an artifact vehicle. It's rare. It's a 4/3. It has flying. Whenever it becomes crewed for the first time each turn until end of turn, it becomes a copy of target non-legendary creature that crewed it this turn. Except it's a 4/3. It's a vehicle artifact in addition to its other types, and it has flying. Jesus. Okay. Some more gas for the vehicle deck. This thing is just gonna I mean, this is just giving you, every time you use this, you just get another 4/3 flyer. This will end the game pretty quickly. This thing only costs 3 mana, and it's a crew 1. And that token sticks around. It doesn't say, like, sacrifice the copy. This is good. This is disgusting. This looks like the the Dread Feast Demon or whatever that just keeps doubling itself and doing ridiculous shit. That one's a little bit better, I think. But this costs 3 mana. Like, this gets going so much quicker. Turn 4, I mean, like, if someone plays this turn 3 and crews at turn 4, the game's fucking over. Like, if they do it once, now they have 2 of them. The text is going to read the same. Ugh. Yeah, this is pretty gross, man. I can't wait to play the vehicle deck. They really push the vehicles and the crew mechanics. So I can't wait to give these a shot, because I think that they actually look strong. Tamshi. Reality Architect. 2 in a blue, legendary creature, Moonfolk Wizard. It's rare, it's a 2/3. Whenever 1 or more non-creature permanents are returned to hand, draw a card. This ability triggers only 1 each turn. And then you can pay X and a white to return a land you control to its owner's hand. Return target artifact or enchantment card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay. So this works pretty well with ninjas. If you bounce your ninja back to your hand, you get an additional card on top of it, just passively. And then the active is pretty good too. I mean, if you have stuff that's good to be getting back, I mean, just free value pretty much. If you were discarding stuff to loot, or if you just had stuff die. This is this card, you know, takes some work, I think, but it's gonna go in any blue deck. I'm pretty sure. This is just gonna be a good like obnoxious card advantage card that's gonna stick. And 2/3 for 3 is, you could do worse, so I like it. Inventive Iteration. This is 3 and a blue for a saga at rare. First step is return up to 1 target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. Okay, so you just like bounce their whatever their thing is. Step 2, return an artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. If you can't, draw a card. That's nice. Okay, so you just, you know, get a card there, and then you exile it and return it as Living Breakthrough. Enchantment creature Moonfolk. It has flying. It's a 3/3. Whenever you cast a spell, your opponents can't cast spells with the same mana value as that spell until your next turn. So that's a little cheesy. That's not going to come up too much, but you do get a 3/3 flyer. This costs 4 mana total. So you figure the bounce effect is worth probably like 2. And then getting something like just drawing a card, just going up a card, whether it's a card that you know about from your graveyard or, you know, just a random card out of your deck. That's, you know, pretty good. This already replaces itself, and then you get a 3/3 flyer out of it too. This card is wildly efficient for 4 mana. You just have to wait for it to play out, but you're getting this is a stacked card. I'm going to be playing this if I see it. Absolutely. Next up, another Planeswalker. We have Tezzeret, Betrayer of Flesh. 2 blue for Tezzeret. He's Mythic Rare. The first activated ability of an artifact you activate each turn costs 2 less to activate. That's just a passive text on the card. So pretty good. Just right off the bat, you know, makes everything a lot cheaper if your artifacts have like tap to add mana or like do something with a few mana. It's pretty good. You could +1 it to draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard an artifact card. Alright. You can -2 it to target artifact. Becomes an artifact creature. If it isn't a vehicle, if it isn't a vehicle, it has base power and toughness 4/4. So you can make your like kind of dinky dead artifacts on the side of the boards 4/4s. You can make a treasure token a 4/4. I mean, I don't know how often that's going to come up though. Then you get -6 when you get an emblem with whenever an artifact you control becomes tapped, draw a card. That's pretty good if you can get there, but I think this is definitely worse than the Wanderer. This also doesn't defend itself, really. Unless you can turn your artifacts into 4/4s, but there's no like guarantee you're going to be able to do that. This is good in an artifact-heavy deck. Like blue-red is what comes to mind here, but I don't think you're going crazy for this card otherwise. It's just a little too narrow. Invoke the Winds. Oh, this is another cycle. Okay. Gray, blue. Sorcery, it's rare. Gain control of target artifact or creature. Untap it. Okay, so you get to steal it permanently. I I don't know how important that is, though, for this mana cost. Like, again, if I was playing a near mono blue deck, or like a deck where I was going to play like 10 islands and 6 swamps or whatever the case might be, then I would consider putting this in for sure. But I think that, again, this is a little bit better than the other one because the effect is so strong. But still, you're paying 5 mana for that effect, and you're not really getting a like there's no guarantee that they're gonna have a creature out that's worth stealing like that for 5 mana. So I'm a little down on Invoke the Wilds. Let's see. Kyrie, the Swirling Sky. And this is 4 blue for legendary creature, Dragon Spirit. It's mythic rare. It's a 6/6, has flying and ward 3. When it dies, choose one. Return any number of target non-land permanents with total mana value 6 or less to their owner's hands. Okay. Or you can mill 6 cards, then return up to 2 instant and or sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. So definitely some value here. I don't think this is quite as good as the white one, but it's definitely not bad. A 6/6 flying ward 3 for 6 is pretty disgusting just by itself. Then you get some additional value when it dies. I think that's the kind of the moral of the story, is that all of these Dragon Spirit cards are going to be really fucking good. And it's just going to be a matter of ordering them and knowing, like, okay, this is the most busted one. But I mean, you're not passing this pick one pack one. It doesn't really matter, right? Like, you're gonna take this if you have the ability to, and you're pretty you want to play it. So I don't know where it's going to match up against the other dragons. I guess we'll talk about that after, maybe. Oh God, what is this? Jin-Gitaxias, Progress Tyrant. 5 blue for legendary creature, Phyraxian Praetor. It's mythic rare. It's a 5/5. Whenever you cast an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. This ability triggers only one each turn. Whenever an opponent casts an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, counter that spell. And that only triggers one each turn. Well, that's ridiculous. I mean, this guy sits on the battlefield and completely dominates the game. Everything that you do twice, and your opponent, the first thing that they do, they can't. Unless they're just playing creatures, but this counters all instants, all sorcery spells. This destroys their removal, and any artifact creature that they have is gone too. This card's a problem, man. A 7 mana 5/5 that has that much text on it that really just hits pretty well. This is a busted card. Alright, we can get to black. March of Wretched Sorrow. This is X black for an instant. It's rare. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you may exile any number of black cards from your hand. Spell costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way. Deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, and you gain X life. Okay, so another card similar to the white one. I think this one is probably a little better because you get the life gain. But that kind of depends. If you're an aggro white deck, you probably don't care about the life gain. This is pretty good though. I think all of these are going to be good, unless like green has one that does something with lands or something. But this seems pretty strong. Blade of the Oni, 1 in a black for an artifact creature, equipment demon. It's mythic rare and it's a 3/1. It has menace. Equipped creature has base power and toughness 5/5, has menace, and is a black demon in addition to its other colors and types. And you can reconfigure it for 4. So pretty good. I mean, 2 mana, 3/1 with Menace is good to begin with, and then you strap this on someone, and they become a 5/5 with Menace. No matter what that card is, it could be like a 1/1 flyer or something. And they keep their other types, so it would stay a flyer. You would just get a 5/5 flyer for 4, you know. But you pretty much just use this to make your weakest thing wildly powerful. So, yeah, good card. Look for it. I'm sure we'll see that around. It is mythic rare, so hopefully not too much. Next up, Mukatai Soul Ripper. 1 and a black for an artifact vehicle. It's rare. It's a 4/3. Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice another artifact or creature. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on Mukatai Soul Ripper, and it gains Menace until end of turn. And it's crew 2. So this one I think is a little worse. You don't want to be sacking stuff like crazy. And the trigger only hits, like that doesn't hit, it would be nice if it did something a little bit better than that. But I think in most cases, like the sacking things to get the Menace, you're probably not going to do unless it's going to be game winning for you to do so. I don't know. This is probably pretty medium rare as far as these things go. It's like the rest of them all just look so strong, and that thing looks kind of weak by comparison. Tribute to Harabi. 1 and a black for a saga. It's rare. Each opponent creates a 1/1 black rat rogue creature token. That's for steps 1 and 2. So your opponent gets a 1/1, and then the following turn they get another 1/1. This comes back as Echo of Death's Wail. Enchantment creature, it's a spirit, it has flying and haste. When ETBs, gain control of all rat tokens. Whenever Echo of Death's Wail attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw a card. So the idea here is you give your opponents 2 rat tokens while you're just trying to survive. Then on the 3rd turn, you get control of all the rat tokens that your opponent had for the 2 turns. And then you just start swinging on them. And you sack them and draw cards. Like if they block... Oh no, it's when it attacks, so you can't wait for blockers to be declared before doing it. But either way, I mean, you still just attack, and if your rat tokens aren't going to get through, or they're just, you don't care about the damage that they're going to do, fuck it, they get you just sack them and draw some cards. There's no mana cost to do so either, but you can only do 1 a turn. Still, you can draw a card a turn like that pretty reliably. That's really good. If you could survive them getting 2/2 worth of stats over the course of 2 turns, I think you'll be okay. Biting Palm Ninja, 2 and a black for a creature. Human Ninja, it's rare, it's a 3/3. It has ninjutsu for 2 and a black. ETBs with a menace counter on it. Okay, I like that already. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a menace counter from it. When you do, that player reveals their hand, you choose a non-land card from it, exile that card. Pretty good, I like that it comes in with a counter on it. Like with the menace counter counts as a modification. So that's pretty sweet. And then you could also, if you are worried about what they might have in their hands, take it out of their hands. You don't necessarily need the menace. Remember, you're playing ninjas, you could also bounce this back, bring it back in, and now it has a menace counter again. So there are ways to string these kind of cards together and
get some kind of sick value out of them. So looks pretty good to me. Nashi Moon. Oh, never mind. Nashi, Moon Sage's Scion. 1 black for legendary creature, Rat Ninja. It's mythic rare, it's a 3/2. Has ninjutsu for 3 and a black. When Nashi, Moon Sage's Scion, deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of each player's library. Until end of turn, you may play one of those cards. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. I love this. Because all the cards that read this way never play out as well as you want them to, because it's always like, I just never have the mana to cast these cards that I'm supposed to be getting card advantage off of. This lets you, just pay with life. Which, if I'm getting an effect like this, I'll do. Most of the time, I'm gonna do that. And I'll pay 7 life to get your 7 drop most of the time. To have that be on my side of the battlefield rather than yours in a few turns. So, I think, I'm in on this. That's pretty sweet. It's like Robber the Rich, kind of. And you can kind of sneak it in for 4. So you ninjutsu it in. It hits. You get the card advantage. And you paid 4, so you don't have mana to cast anything, but then you just pay with life. And put whatever the best card is on the battlefield. Yeah, that's sweet. I like it. Soul Transfer. 1 black sorcery rare. Choose one. If you control an artifact and an enchantment as you cast a spell, you may choose both. You can exile target creature or planeswalker, or you can return target creature or planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand. So, you're probably, for the purposes of us, you're always going to, for the most part, you're going to pick the exile target creature or planeswalker with this, which is a fantastic deal. 1 black is a great deal for that. That's just a nice, efficient removal spell. And then, if you get both of these, now you feel like you just robbed the bank. That's crazy. Yeah, this card's going to be strong. It's not again, this is not a card that's crazy busted. You can, beat this card, but if someone uses this and kills your thing and gets a card back from their graveyard, you're going to feel pretty bad about it. At least it's a sorcery, though. That balances this a bit. It's pretty good. Good card, though. Cool card. Tatsunari, Toad Rider. 2 and a black for a legendary creature, human ninja. He's rare, he's a 3/3. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, if you don't control a creature named Kaimi, create Kaimi, a legendary 3/3 black and green frog creature token with whenever you cast an enchantment spell, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And then you can pay 1 in hybrid green-blue, Tatsunari, Toad Rider, and target frog you control can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with flying or reach. What a card. What a card packed into 3 mana. That's awesome. First of all, it's a ninja, which is cool to begin with, but the enchantments are all over the place. You can get an enchantment to create your toad. So you're going to get, at worst, you have a 3 mana 3/3, which is just fine and good enough to play most of the time. And then the upside here is just ridiculous. You play your first enchantment, you get another 3/3 pretty much for free. You get 6 power and toughness worth of stats for 3 mana. And then this thing just starts, every subsequent enchantment you play, this thing is just draining them for 1. And then you just start not being able to block and hit them for 6 a turn. And then you just play enchantments and it keeps draining them for... This card is ridiculous. They decreased the curve, man. Now there are cards like this coming out at 3 mana. I hate it. I hate it. Hidetsugu, Devouring Chaos. 3 and a black for a legendary creature, Ogre Demon. It's rare, it's a 4/4. You can pay black, sacrifice a creature, scry 2. Meh, okay. Then you can pay 2 and a red, tap it, exile the top card of your library. You may pay that card this turn. When you exile a non-land card this way, Hidetsugu, Devouring Chaos deals damage equal to the exiled card's mana value to any target. That's pretty sweet. So not only do you get to play that turn, so this is like this is a guy that, you know, looks like he wants to brawl, but really he wants to just kind of sit back and stay alive, and like exile, like get you card advantage, and also like blow up their stuff, or just like go to face. That's pretty damn good, man. Just like every turn, it has a chance to just pick up a 3 mana thing and just very likely be able to get rid of one of their creatures. It's any target. This hits planeswalkers. This is really good. And very cool name. I like it. Invoke Despair, 1 black, 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 black. This is a sorcery, it's rare. Target opponent sacks a creature. If they can't, they lose 2 life and you draw a card. Then repeat this process for an enchantment and a planeswalker. Whoa. Okay. But the thing is, with again, these are not limited cards, I don't think. Like, because it's gonna be so hard to manufacture a situation where this hits them for 6 and you draw 3 cards, which is what you want to happen. But this is not going to happen in limited more than a couple of times over the course of a lot of games. Like, I don't think so, guys. Prove me wrong, make it work, but prohibitive mana cost and sorcery speed, and just so narrow. Like, they get to choose the creature if they do. Like, what if you play this and they have a creature and they're just like, okay, I'm just gonna sack this thing, and or they have like 3 creatures and they're just like, I'm gonna sack my 1/1. You just paid this ridiculous mana cost, and you burnt this card at sorcery speed to get them to like sack a 1/1. You didn't get anything. This is not a playable card in limited, guys. It's could be cool elsewhere, but not here. Here we go. Here's our dragon. 3 black, black for legendary creature, dragon spirit. It's Junji, the Midnight Sky. It's mythic rare. He's a 5/5. He has flying and menace. When Junji, the Midnight Sky, dies, choose one. Each opponent discards 2 cards and loses 2 life. Okay. Or put target non-dragon creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose 2 life. That's kind of sweet. From a graveyard, so it could be their graveyard too. So you just kind of slap the best card, you know, from that's been in the game so far. Slap it on the field. This is I mean, these dragons are all really good, man. Like, this is kind of crazy. Like, you got to deal with this 5/5 flying menace, and if you don't, again, if you actually do, he gets a ton of value out of it, but it's not just a card that you could leave alone. So yeah, very good. Looks like all these dragons are going to be playable to, like, very strong, which is sweet. I love to see it. Like, there should be some, like, you know, very powerful cards in the set, and they're mythic rare, so I don't have a problem with that. I have more of a problem with Hitsurugu, Devouring Chaos, so stuff like that, you know, and Tetsunari, Toad Rider. Like, I don't want to see a ton of cards like this. Like, this is enough. Like, you're going to lose to this card and be like, this is just fucking nonsense. Like, what do you mean I can't block it? I can't block this dumbass and his frog pet. And then he's going to, like, ping me for 2 on top of it. Drain me for 2, I don't know. Man. Alright, I'm gonna rock a piss, smoke a Pall Mall, take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll do red and green. Cool. Making good progress so far. Alright, be back. Alright, folks, I'm back. Let's get into red, shall we? March of Reckless Joy. This is, so another one of those cycle cards that has the X value in it. This is X in a red. For an instant, it's rare. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may exile any number of red cards from your hand. It costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way. Exile the top X cards of your library. You may play up to 2 of those cards until the end of your next turn. Okay, so this is like, I don't think this is quite as good as the other ones, but it's some card advantage in red. It's like Reckless Impulse, but, you know, you could sack your dead cards or whatever, get extra value, dig through more of your deck. If you have a bomb or something, I could see wanting to play this pretty badly. Not bad. Like, it's just kind of like, yeah, it's not quite the ones that are going to end the game, right? Like the blue one or the potentially like the black one or white one. So I don't know. I mean, this is, I think, a little worse, but you'll still put this in a red deck. Enjoy your card advantage. Goro, Disciple of Ryusei. This is 1 in a red for a legendary creature, Goblin Samurai. He's rare, he's a 2/2. He has red. Creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. Okay. Then he has 3 red. Create a 5/5 red dragon spirit creature token with flying. Activate only if you control an attacking modified creature. Interesting. Well, if you control an attacking modified creature, you're gonna feel pretty good about that. And if you have 6 mana, you could give your 5/5 red dragon spirit creature token with flying haste as well. You only really need to activate that once for, you know, obviously this is gonna be fucking ridiculous. I mean, a 2/2 for 2 that has these other abilities on it is pretty ridiculous, pretty stupid. It's a bomb, it's a must kill, and it's, if you ever let it make a 5/5, it's probably too late. Good card. Lizard Blades. Ooh, 1 in a red for an artifact creature. Equipment Lizard. It's rare. It's a 1/1. It has double strike. And guess what? Equipped creature has double strike. Reconfigure for 2. So this by itself isn't doing that much, but I mean, reconfigure for 2, and it's just gonna keep tossing this around. If you see this like early in the game, you're just gonna be like, "What the fuck do I do about this?" It's like pretty hard to interact with too. So yeah, I mean, it's as good as it gets, man. Mono red aggro is coming back, guys. Maybe I'll have to play some standard again. This is going in my mono red aggro deck. I could guarantee it. This and the rabbit card. Rabbit battery. Yeah. We're equipping up. We're giving double strike. We got artifact creatures. We got equipment lizards on the battlefield. You guys are in trouble. I'm coming for you, Teferi. Ogre Headhelm. 1 in a red. Equipment artifact creature. Equipment ogre. It's rare. It's a 2/2. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. Whenever Ogre Headhelm or equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, discard your hand, then draw 3 cards. Okay, another pretty cool, like, and reconfigures for 3. So, another cool way for red to, like, get some card advantage. Again, this is probably going to be, like, I could see this being a constructed card. You know, you're out of cards in your hand. You punch them with something that has +2/+2. It's also just, okay, it's to a player, so it's not just combat damage, so you have to get through. But if you do, you can discard your hand with nothing in it and just get 3 cards for free. Just restock your hand, so. Yeah, this card's quite good. Also, I mean, it's just going to give whatever it's attached to +2/+2, which isn't irrelevant. And then when it's convenient for you to do so, you reconfigure it, or not reconfigure it, but you sack it, and you know, you get to keep the creature it was attached to. You just lose it, and you draw 3. Pretty sweet. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. This is 2 in a red for a saga at rare. First step is create a 2/2 red Goblin Shaman creature token with whenever this creature attacks, create a treasure token. Okay. I don't know how often that's going to be attacking, but step 2, you may discard up to 2 cards. If you do, draw that many cards. Alright. And then 3, exile it, bring it back, and you get Reflection. Oh no. Oh dear lord. Reflection of Kiki-Jiki. Enchantment creature, Goblin Shaman. You could pay, it's a 2/2, and you can pay 1 and tap it to create a token that's a copy of another target non-legendary creature you control, except it has haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Well, boys, I don't want to play standard anymore, I don't think. We got fucking Kiki-Jiki and shit. I mean, I guess you can, like, this is a pretty, like, bad build-up to Kiki-Jiki. Like, because this, you know, you have to get this, 2/2 that doesn't really get through that often. Like, maybe it'll trade for a treasure token, and that's fine. And then, like, maybe you want to discard 2 cards and draw 2 note. Like, maybe you want to rummage 2. But then you do get this effect, which is pretty sweet. In limited, I don't think this card is going to be that good. Standard and stuff, maybe. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of thing figured out with that. Next up, we have Scrap Welder. This is 2 in a red for a 3/3 Goblin Artificer. It's rare. You could tap it, sack an artifact with mana value X. Return target artifact card with mana value less than X from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste until end of turn. Meh. Again, limited. I don't think this is going to be too good. You need... Yeah, I mean... It has to be less than X, so you're going down on mana, theoretically. And limited, this doesn't seem like a limited card to me, but maybe someone will figure something out. But it's okay. It's a 3/3 for 3 at base. So if someone figures out a way to use this, let me know. But I can't really think of anything at this point. Atsushi, the Blazing Sky, 2 red for a legendary creature, Dragon Spirit. It's mythic rare. It's a 4/4. It has flying and trample. When it dies, choose one. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until end of your next turn, you may play those cards. Or create 3 treasure tokens. Sick. Tons of value, both when it's alive and when it dies. So it dies and you get a free Reckless Impulse. This thing only costs 4 mana for a 4/4 flying trample. That's going to Reckless Impulse when it dies. Or just make you a ton of treasure. Like, if you're in an artifact deck, it's going to make you 3 artifacts. I'm just imagining the card that every time you make an artifact, you put a charge on it, and it, you get 3 charges at once. It'd be pretty sweet. Yeah, man, this card's good. Obviously, all these dragons are. So, play this. Have fun with it. Thundering Raiju, 2 red for a creature spirit. It's rare. It's a 3/3 haste. When Thundering Raiju attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then Thundering Raiju deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of modified creatures you control other than Thundering Raiju. Okay. Cool. So, yeah, I mean, that's a beater. This thing's going to drop on the battlefield, swing in your modified deck, and hit him for like 5 before it even gets through. That's going to be good.
You're gonna like it. I'm gonna like it. You're gonna hate losing to it. But doubtless you will. Invoke Calamity. 1 red. Instant, rare. You may cast up to 2 instant and or sorcery spells with total mana value 6 or less from your graveyard and or hand without paying their mana costs. The spells would be put into your graveyard. Exile them instead. Exile Invoke Calamity. Yeah. Again, prohibitive mana cost. This isn't bad. But you have to have those things in your hand or your graveyard. And you are paying 5 to cast this to begin with. And so you're really only going up like 1 mana. The setup cost is just too high on these cards. These aren't going to work for limited. They are cool though. I like the flavor. But Explosive Singularity. 8. That's right. 8 red for a sorcery. It's mythic rare. As an additional cost to cast the spell, you may tap any number of untapped creatures you control. This spell costs 1 gray less to cast for each creature tapped this way. It deals 10 damage to any target. Well, this is pretty sick. I mean, it's just a finisher. Like, play this. I'm gonna... this is... I mean... Obviously, it's situational, but if there's ever a board stall, this just ends the game. Like, if there's ever a... I mean, if you have 5 creatures out, and then you cast this for 5, and it deals 10, like, that's crazy. This card gets to pretty good value really quickly. I don't think there's much instant speed life gain that I've seen, so the sorcery doesn't hurt you all that much. I think it's, yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be good. Like, it is mythic rare, so you won't see it too often, but this is going to win some games, for sure. It's going to green. March of Burgeoning Life. X green for an instant. It's rare. You can do the exile green cards in your hand thing to make it cost 2 less. Choose target creature with mana value less than X. Search your library for a creature card with the same name as that creature and put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Okay, so you have to have... Yeah, I mean, this is not a limited card. You don't know if you're going to have 2 copies of anything, and you have to have one of them on the battlefield for this to do it. Constructed card, clearly, but, you know, could be good in the right circumstance. I don't know. I really don't know how to even theorycraft Constructed anymore, but this is not going to get it done in limited. Don't play this. Kami of Transience. 1 and a green for a creature's spirit. It's rare. It's a 2/2. It has trample. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, put a +1/+1 counter on it. At the beginning of each end step, if an enchantment was put into your graveyard from the battlefield this turn, you may return it, Kami of Transience, from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty sweet. Like, it's recursive. It grows. It has trample to begin with, so as it gets bigger and stronger, and green is the right color for this. Lots of enchantments there. You know, eventually they kill it, and then maybe you had some aura on it or something, or you have a saga out that's going to go to your graveyard, or whatever, and then this just, you know, comes back and you play more enchantment creatures and stuff, and it just grows to be like a good creature if it didn't end the game the first time, if they couldn't remove it. So I like it. For a 2/2, this does a lot, or for a 2-drop. So very strong card for pretty cheap. Shigeki Jukai Visionary. Legendary enchantment creature, Snake Druid. It's rare. It's 1 and a green. It's a 1/3. You could pay 1 and a green and tap it to return it to its owner's hand. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tap. Put the rest into your graveyard. You can also channel this for XX green. Discard Shigeki. Return X target non-legendary cards from your graveyard to your hand. It's not like a fantastic effect. This is too. I think this is going to be too slow for this set from what I've seen. Like, I don't think you're going to be able to start like just bouncing this over and over again and playing lands. Like, this is a little too slow ramp, I think. And then like eventually you get some stuff back from your graveyard, but I don't know. I don't think so, Shigeki. It's not bad, but... And then, I guess, when you do ramp with it, you get to, you know, put it onto the battlefield tap, so, like, you can play 2 a turn, theoretically. I'm not huge on this, though. It's okay. Teachings of the Kieran. 1 and a green for a saga at rare. Mill 3 cards, create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token. You put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control for step 2, and then you exile it. Oh, so you exile the sagas, so they never actually go to your graveyard. Disregard what I said about the card coming back from sagas, but there's still other ways to tab enchantments, go to the yard. Kieran touched Orochi. Orochimaru. Enchantment creature Snake Monk. Whenever it attacks, choose 1. Exile target creature card from a graveyard. When you do, create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token. Exile non-creature card from a graveyard. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Yeah, I mean, this is okay, but how much are you going to be able to attack with this 1/1? It's not going to... You can't get that on the battlefield until turn 4. I just don't think... I guess you get, like, pretty good value. Like, you get a 1/1 turn 1 when you play this. Then you get a +1/+1 counter. At worst, it goes on your 1/1. Now it's a 2/2 on turn 3. But this card just feels a turn behind. If this was a 1-mana card, I'd be with it. But I don't... I think this is a little too slow. This just takes too long to get going. I'm not going to be stoked on playing this. I will play it, probably, in the right green deck. But I'm not super high on that. Weaver of Harmony, 1 and a green for an enchantment creature, Snake Druid. It's rare, it's a 2/2. Other enchantment creatures you control get +1/+1. Here we go, we got a Lord. You can pay green and tap it. Copy target activated or triggered ability you control from an enchantment source. You may choose new targets for the copy. Okay. Yeah, this card does work for a 2-drop. There's plenty of enchantment creatures. There's plenty of enchantment creatures in green, and then... there are plenty of, you know, enchantments that target stuff in green as well. This card's going to be really good. Any green deck, I think, is going to want this. And if you're in, like, some kind of green enchantment deck, particularly, this is going to be filthy. Like green-white, maybe. You're gonna feel like you're going off with this. Okay, Jugon defends the temple. This is 2 and a green for a saga. It's mythic rare. Okay. So step 1, you create a 1/1 green human monk creature token with tap to add green. Okay, so you get a 3-mana Land of War Elves on turn 1. Step 2, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Alright, well hopefully you have other things out than the Land of War Elves. And then you exile it, you bring it back, and it becomes Remnant of the Rising Star. Enchantment creature Dragon Spirit. It's a 2/2 flyer. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay X. When you do, put X +1/+1 counters on that creature. Okay. As long as you control 5 or more modified creature, Remnant of the Rising Star gets +5/+5 and has trample. Wow. Okay. So I'm looking at red-green for this, for like the modified thing.
And you can like get there. I don't think it's going to be extremely difficult for you to do that, especially when you can modify the creatures as they ETB with this card. On the opposite side of this, you can't play this until turn 3, so you get this 1/1, but you probably have other creatures out, so you can't put those counters on them. You could start to get, like, you know, get this kind of modified game going pretty quickly. And then if you're in, like, red-green, you can, like, you're going to have equipment and stuff as well that you can throw around. So, I mean, I like this card a lot. This seems really powerful to me. You get some good value, and then you also just get this thing that, if left unchecked, is going to win the game eventually. Sick. I like it. Glad it's Mythic rare. Jugon. Kodama of the West Tree. This is 2 and a green for a legendary creature spirit. It's Mythic rare. It's a 3/3. It has reach. Modified creatures you control have trample. Wow. Oof. Whenever a modified creature you control deals combat damage to a player, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Well, that's less significant, but the whole like a 3/3 for 3 reach is good to begin with, like very good, way ahead of curve. And then, I mean, modified creatures you control have trampled. There's tons of modified creatures in green and red. Like, this is going to be filthy, man. I love it. Very strong card. The Dragon Kami Reborn, 2 and a green for a saga. It's rare. Steps 1 and 2 are you gain 2 life. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Exile one of them face down with a hatchling, a hatching counter on it. Then put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Okay. Then you exile it. It comes back. Dragon Kami's Egg. Enchantment creature. Egg. It's a 0/1. Whenever the egg or a dragon you control dies, you may cast a creature spell from among cards you own in exile with hatching counters on them without paying its mana cost. Yeah, this is pretty good. I like that it's slow, but you gain 4 life from the first 2 saga things, and you get to choose the card, so you know that you're going to be able to eventually cash out on this. And I mean, you can just leave this back and just block with it or whatever, you know. Like, they're going to have to do that eventually. And you could do this immediately after you, like, if they're attacking into you or whatever. You could play one of your 2 cards that you picked. It's going to be easy to go up a bunch on mana here. And the not adding anything to the board on turn 3 is, you know, negated a bit by the life gain. So I think this is pretty strong. I wouldn't, I'm not crazy about it, but I think it's good. Invoke the Agents. Here we go. 1 green, 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 green. For sorcery at rare, create 2 4/5 green spirit creature tokens. For each of them, put your choice of a vigilance counter, a reach counter, or a trample counter on it. Yeah, I mean, that's a good deal for 5 mana. You get 2 4/5 green spirit. You get 2 4/5 modified creatures. With whatever counter is going to be best for you that game. But again, this one I think is more realistic to play than all of the other ones, just because you're in green and there's lots of stuff that's like, oh, do this to add double green, or enchantments that add double green and mana dorks and all that stuff. So I think it's way more likely that you're able to play this card, and this might be the best one of these, honestly. Like, you make 8-10 worth of stats with 2 counters for 5 mana. If you can get the green, I would play this card, which is good because their other cycle card didn't like, isn't gonna make the cut. So that's pretty important. I like that they kind of went all out on that. That's cool. That's a good card. We'll be playing some of that probably.
Kura, the Boundless Sky. Here's the dragon. 3 green for a legendary creature, dragon spirit, mythic rare. It's a 4/4. It has flying and death touch. When Kura, the Boundless Sky, dies, choose one. Search your library for up to 3 land cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle. Or you create an XX green spirit creature token, where X is the number of lands you control. So it's going to be at least a 5/5. You lose a 4/4, you traded it for something because it has death touch, more likely than not, and then you get at least a 5/5, maybe a 6/6. Sounds like a deal to me, man. Another strong dragon. That's probably, I mean, usually the green one is the worst of the bunch, and this kind of seems like it, but maybe the blue one is a little worse than this. But, still very strong, no doubt. Spring Leaf Avenger, 3 green for creature insect ninja. It's rare. It has ninjutsu for 3 and a green. Oh, by the way, it's a 6/5. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. This ninjutsu's in for 4, hits him for 6, and 2, and like, you know, you get like a little 2-for-1 action. Maybe you could play the card that turn that you brought back from the graveyard. I'm in. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds pretty good to me. I'll take this guy all day. Strong card. Again, weird deck for ninjas, but again, ninjutsu is better outside of blue-black because no one's going to be expecting this fucking weird green ninja jump out at him and start 2-for-1ing and hitting you for 6, you know, so just keep that in mind. It could be good. Kaito Shizuki. We're getting into the gold cards now. This is 1 blue-black for a legendary planeswalker. Kaito. He's mythic rare. He has 3 loyalty. His passive text is, at the beginning of your end step, if Kaito Shizuki entered the battlefield this turn, he phases out. Okay. Interesting. So, the +1 is you draw a card, then discard a card unless you attack this turn. Alright. Good enough. -2 is create a 1/1 blue ninja creature token with this creature can't be blocked. Okay. And then -7, you get an emblem with whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, search your library for a blue or black creature card. If you put it onto the battlefield, you may put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Cool. I mean, the emblem is never going to happen, probably, but okay, so he's going to phase out every turn because he, you know what? It might happen just because he's never going to be available to attack. Like, they're never going to be able to hit this guy because he phases out. He ETBs every turn and phases out every turn. So we could just +1/+1, draw you a card for 4 turns, and then drop the emblem, and then you kind of win once you have the emblem. Also, if you don't have good ways to get through, he can make you a ninja, and then the ninja you can ninjutsu off of that, I guess. But you do lose the 1/1 because it can't go back to your hand. So, I mean, that's mediocre, I think. But I do like this, like, draw a card and, like, invulnerable planeswalker concept. This guy seems strong. Like, you'll just the draw. If you just get the draw cards for a few turns, and like you can. I mean, you can also do a thing where you -2 him, next turn attack with your ninja, then you +1 draw a card, and then you could just keep doing that, and you don't have to discard because you have this 1/1 unblockable ninja that you're just attacking with every turn. So, quite strong planeswalker for 3 mana. Satoru Umezawa. 1 blue-black for a legendary creature, human ninja. It's gold. It's rare. It's a 2/4. Whenever you activate a ninjutsu ability, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. This ability triggers only once each turn. Each creature card in your hand has ninjutsu. 2 blue-black. Yeah, I mean, most of the stuff that you want to have ninjutsu on it already does. but there's certainly some, applications for they don't, and this guy's just going to give you more value out of like just doing what you want to be doing in blue black anyway. So I mean, very strong. It's like, kind of a problem to have this thing in the battlefield. Look forward to seeing that in my packs. Katose, the Silent Spider, 3 blue black for a legendary creature human ninja at rare. It's a 4/4. When she ETBs, exile target card other than a basic land card from an opponent's graveyard. Search that player's search that player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that card and exile them. Then that player shuffles. For as long as you control Katose, you may play one of the exiled cards, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. So at the end of the day, for our purposes in Limited, this is a 5 mana 4/4, which isn't really good enough to get it done in today's day and age. Cool card. I wouldn't blame you for rare drafting it. And I'm sure that this is going to have some kind of constructed implication. If you can get, someone's like, if you could get just all their one particular type of card out of their deck or something, like that's pretty good. And then be able to cast them on it. But you don't know that they have those in Limited for the most part, so this is not. I don't think this is quite playable, but pretty cool. Hidetsugu Consumes All. This is one. I'm thinking of Ploob Ooble, the end of all. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Hidetsugu Consumes All, 1 black red for a Saga Mythic rare. So you destroy step 1. You destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less. Which, I mean, that's not going to hit too often in Limited. Then you exile all graveyards. Okay, so we haven't really gotten much so far from this thing. Let's see if he transforms into something good. Vessel of the All-Consuming. You get an enchantment creature, Ogre Shaman, who's a 3/3 Trampler. When Vessel of the All-Consuming deals damage of any kind, not to a player necessarily, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever he deals damage to a player, if it has dealt 10 or more damage to that player this turn, they lose the game. Yeah, this is not a Limited card, unfortunately. It would be cool, but this is way too slow. 3 mana to do nothing turn 1, nothing turn 2, and then on turn 5, if you casted this on turn 3, you get this guy that is never really gonna get through for that much. He has to get to 10 damage to end the game as your alt win condition. I don't know. I mean, put this on the bucket list. Like, if someone could find a way to win a game of Limited with this card, please share, but I don't think so. Satsuki, the Living Lore. This is green-white for a legendary creature, human druid. It's rare. It's a 1/3. You could tap it to put a lore counter on each saga you control. Activate only as a sorcery. When Satsuki, the Living Lore, dies, choose up to 1. Return target saga or enchantment creature you control to its owner's hand. Or you can return target saga card from your graveyard to your hand. So you don't... I don't know about this. This lets you get some extra value out of sagas that you happen to have on the battlefield at the time when you play this. Also, they go to when they exile. All the sagas exile when they hit their 3rd step. So I don't know what this get it from your graveyard to your hand is. I feel like there's no that's just never going to be relevant because they're always going to be exiled once they hit the 3rd stage. I don't think so. Guys. Greasefang, Okiba Boss, 1 white black for legendary creature Rat Pilot. It's rare. It's a 4/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, return target vehicle card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of your next end step. Okay, so if you have a vehicle in your graveyard, this thing's pretty sweet. If you don't, it's a 4/3 for 3, which isn't bad either. There's tons of vehicles in white, you know. And then you get it back in your hand and you can play it again. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. This card's pretty good. It's nothing like crazy, but it's good enough to put in your deck if you're playing white-black. Spirit Sister's Call. This is 3 white-black for an enchantment at Mythic Rare. At the beginning of your end step, choose target permanent card in your graveyard. You may sacrifice a permanent that shares the card type with the chosen card. If you do, return the chosen card from your graveyard to the battlefield and it gains. This permanent would leave the battlefield, exile it, instead of putting it anywhere else. No. 5 mana to maybe get back something that is worth like 1 more mana. Nah. No, we're not doing this. This isn't worth a card in Limited, unfortunately. But, you know, cool concept. Ejango Uprising. X red white for sorcery at rare. Create X 2/2 white samurai creature tokens with vigilance that gain menace and haste until end of turn. Each opponent creates X -1 2/2 white samurai creature tokens with vigilance. I'm sorry. So you get 1 more. No. No, there's better ways to end the game than this, guys. No, we're not playing this. Better ways. There are better ways, I promise. Play the fireball that deals 10 damage. Rizona Asari Commander. 1 red white for a legendary creature, human samurai. It's rare. It's a 3/3. It has haste. Whenever Rizona Asari Commander deals combat damage to a player, if it doesn't have an indestructible counter on it, oh man. Okay, and then whenever combat damage is dealt to you, remove an indestructible counter from her. So, I mean, she comes in with haste as a 3/3. She swings in. Like, if you could stabilize the board the turn after you play her or whatever, just swing in with her. Like, there's your samurai that's attacking every turn, right? Then you're getting tons of value for it attacking alone. That seems like the game plan to me. That's crazy. That's a strong fucking card. Damn. Cool. Alright, Raiju, Storm's Edge. 2 red, look at this guy. 2 red white for legendary creature human samurai. It's rare, it's a 3/3. Has first strike. Whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, untap it. If it's the first combat phase of the turn, there is an additional combat phase after this phase. Interesting. Okay, so you can attack once, then attack again, like, you know, attack once depending on what they do. If you're attacking with one thing, it's probably either, you know, getting through or they're chumping it, and then they get to, it either gets through or they chump it again. That's pretty sweet. I can see it. I like it in the samurai deck. Lots of, you know, lots of good stuff going on in that deck. Oh, here we go. Here's Tomio. 2 green, blue, and a hybrid green-blue. Oh, interesting. Has completed. So one of the mana costs in that, so it's two green, blue, and then like a completed cost, which can be paid with green, blue, or 2 life. And if you paid with the life, it comes in with 2 fewer loyalty counters. And it starts naturally with 5. So if you paid 5 mana for the card, it comes in with 5. If you paid 4, it comes in with 3. So the +1 is tap up to 1 target artifact or creature. Does not tap during its controller's next untap step. For a +1, that's an amazing ability. -X. Exile target non-land permanent card with mana value extra less from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of that card. That's sweet. And then -7. Create Temiyo's Notebook, a legendary colorless artifact token with spells you cast, cost 2 less to cast, and tap to draw a card. Wow. Well, obviously, very strong Planeswalker. You know, that'll get it done. Just play this. If you play this for just 5 mana, you're 2 turns away from getting the thing that's going to make all your spells cost 2 less to cast and draw you a card every turn. And it defends itself by tapping their best thing that's going to attack you. So, yeah, this card's busted. Play it, pick it, love it. Ishin, 2 heavens as 1. Red, white, black for legendary creature, human, samurai. It's rare. It's a 3/4. If a creature attacks and causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Okay, so this is pretty sick if you are in the samurai deck and you're attacking with 1 samurai and it's getting 5 triggers off all your other samurai that say if a samurai or warrior attacks alone, do something. All that stuff is going to trigger twice. This card's going to be tough to cast, but if you can splash it and you're already in samurais or have a good reason to hedge towards samurais, this is going to be pretty busted if it's ever on the battlefield when you have stuff like that going on. So, yeah, not bad. Hinata, Dawn Crowned. 1 blue, 1 Jeskai. One in the Jeskai colors. So 1 blue, red, white. Legendary creature, Kieran Spirit. It's rare. It's a 4/4. It has flying and trample. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each target, and spells your opponents cast cost 1 more to cast for each target. So that text isn't that relevant, really. This is a hard to cast 4 mana 4/4 flying trample, which isn't bad, but you know, if you're around those colors and you get this card in a pack and you have some, I would take this pretty aggressively and look for a way to splash it, just because, I mean, a 4 mana 4/4 flying trample is pretty great. So, you know, just look for this card. Could be pretty good if you're in like red white already, or red blue, or blue white, and you're in the market for a nice top end. This will do the trick. The Kami War. Interesting. So this is going to be the big one. All right. So this is 1 in Wooburg, 1 in all the colors, 6 mana total. For a Mythic Rare Enchantment Saga. 1. Exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls. Okay, so hits the battlefield. You're never gonna play this in limited. It doesn't matter, but it's cool to, you know, still read this stuff and see what they came up with. As like, this is their fucking big like card for the set, which I dig. This is like Niv Mizzet Reborn or whatever. Okay, so 1, you slap this in the battlefield, exile something they control. That's not a land. Cool. 2, return up to 1 other target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Then each opponent discards a card. Okay, so you just bounce one of their things, and then they discard a card. Okay. Then it comes back as Okagachi, Made Manifest. Enchantment creature, Dragon Spirit. It's a 6/6. It's all colors. It has flying and trample. When it attacks, defending player chooses a non-land card in your graveyard. Return that card to your hand. Gets +X +0 until end of turn, where X is the mana value of that card.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of sucks. Like, I think that the best card in the set should be this card, right? Like, the most powerful card in the set, not the best, but the most powerful card in the set should be this impossible card to cast. That you finally, you put your Wooburg color deck together to get this card in the battlefield. You have to survive for like 3 turns to cast it. And then you, like, this dragon comes out, and this thing probably isn't even the best of, like, the dragon, the dragon cycle. And it's like that's kind of weak, man. Like this thing should be this should be the toxic slug. Like the toxic slug should be this, like, it should be this hard to cast and have that effect. Where if you do manage to put this together, your opponent can't say shit about it because your opponent let you fucking assemble Wooburg. Like, you need to, like, that's respectable, you know. So this is a little weak for their, like, big headline card, probably. But it is what it is. I don't know, if you guys get a deck going with this card and it looks good, let me know about it. Alright, we're going to artifacts. Oh god, are we gonna get, like, the Jite or something? We get Eater of Virtue, 1 gray mana for legendary artifact. Equipment, it's rare. Whenever equipped creature dies, exile it. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. As long as a card exiled with Eater of Virtue has flying, equipped creature has flying. The same is true for First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Haste, Hexproof, Indestructible, Lifelink Mech. Okay. So this thing just essentially gains the powers of the cards that died with it. That's kind of cool. That's such good flavor. I love that. And it's a 1 mana card, equip 1, and it gives you +2/+0. Like, that's pretty sick to begin with. So this card has nothing but upside, and it's like, it's probably not going to do that much for you in limited, but it's good. Just a 1 mana, 1 equip, get +2/+0, swing in if you have some kind of counter on you, or like some kind of ability on you, and then they have to block because you're hitting for +2/+0. This card's great, honestly. This isn't yeah, play this all day. First picking that all fucking day. Mech Titan Core, 2 gray for an artifact vehicle. It's rare. It's a 2/4. You could pay 5. Exile it and 4 other artifact creatures and or vehicles you control. Create Mecha Titan, a legendary 10/10 construct artifact creature token with flying, vigilance, trample, lifelink, and haste. That's all colors. When that token leaves the battlefield, return all cards exiled with Mech Titan Core, except Mech Titan Core, to the battlefield tapped under their owner's control. That's cool. So you exile... I mean, this is a 2 mana card. You have to remember. Like, I don't think... And it has to be artifact creature, so you can't do this with, like, treasure tokens or something. But, it's so funny. You just assemble your artifacts into this giant, disgusting monster. And then when it dies, you get them all back. That's pretty sweet. It's a strong card. It's strong by itself. I mean, it's a 2/4 vehicle with crew 2. Just like a 2 mana 2/4 crew 2. Just by itself, which isn't terrible. With all the, like, vehicle synergy there is in the set. And then if you have other artifact creatures and vehicles, like, your opponent's going to start sweating once you have, like, 3 of them out. And it's like, oh shit, he's going to assemble the Mech Titan and fucking hit me for 10 lifelink. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I like that card. Reckoner Bank Buster. This is 2 gray for an artifact vehicle. It's rare. It's a 4/4. It ETBs with 3 charge counters on it. You can pay 2 gray and tap it to remove a charge counter. Draw a card. Then if there are no charge counters on it, create a treasure token and a 1/1 colorless pilot creature token with. This creature crews vehicles as though its power were 2 greater. And this crews for 3 as well. So you only get that once. Oh no, okay. I guess you just keep doing that and drawing cards and getting treasure tokens and making 1/1 pilots and stuff. No, you have to remove the charge counter, so that won't work. Yeah, this is a little weird, but it's a little clunky. It's kind of cool, though. I love these vehicles in this set. I have to try some of these stuff out. Next, we have Mirror Box. This is 3 gray for an artifact. It's rare. The legend rule doesn't apply to permanents you control. Each legendary creature you control gets +1/+1. Each non-token creature you control gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with the same name as that creature. I mean, cool stuff. This isn't a limited card, but it's... I mean, that's obviously they just made a card to break like every fucking format. I don't... Like, this pretty clearly is going to be busted and everything. They don't ban it in. I think this will be banned pretty quickly in most other stuff, but maybe not Pauper. Okay, Surge Hacker Mech. Artifact Vehicle, 4 mana, gray, rare, 5/5 menace. ETBs, it deals damage equal to twice the number of vehicles you control to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Crew 4. Crew 4 is kind of a lot for a 5/5 that already costed 4 to put on the battlefield. It does have menace, which is pretty good. And if you do have like a ton of vehicles, this is fine top end. This comes in and like Ravenous Chupacabras or whatever. Like, that's not bad. I'm thinking of like Blight Breath Catoblepus. You know, that's more what this is like. As a vehicle, though, it's not quite as good. It's okay. I mean, like, I think you play this maybe in a vehicle deck, but you have to be pretty fucking in on vehicles before you want to try that. Alright, we're done with those. Now we just have a few lands. We have, I guess these are channel lands, is what we'll call these. So the white one, you can all these tap to add their primary color. So the white one taps to add white, and then you can channel it for 2 and a white. It deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. And if you control legendary creatures, it costs 1 less to activate for each creature you control. So that's pretty sweet. And this is a good planes in the early game if you need a planes. And then if you need a removal spell late, this will do the trick on attacking or blocking creatures. So... sick. I love this. Great card design. I'd take that aggressively. Otawara, Soaring City. This is blue. You can channel it for 3 and a blue. To return target artifact, creature, enchantment, or planeswalker to its owner's hand. And each legendary... I guess they all get cheaper with legendary creatures you control. So... that's not going to come up in limited very often, but still a good card for limited, without a doubt. Like, just having this in the late game, you don't need the mana, and you need to get your bomb back, or some kind of good enchantment, or whatever. This will do that for you. Takanuma, Abandoned Mire, sorry. Legendary land. Tap to add black, you can pay 3 and a black to discard it. You mill 3 cards, return a creature or planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, so kind of like the blue one. It's a little more narrow, but you also get to mill 3 before you pick, so you might mill something in there. Not bad. Sockets in, Crucible of Defiance. This is the red one. You pay 3 in a red, discard it. Create 2 1/1 colorless spirit creature tokens. They gain haste until end of turn. Pretty mediocre for 4 mana, but... you know, again, it's the versatility that makes the card good. I think this is worse than the other ones, for sure. And then Bosehu, Who Endures, legendary land, it's green. You pay 1 and a green to discard it, to destroy target artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land an opponent controls. That player searches their library for a land card with basic land type, put it onto the battlefield, and shuffle. Okay, yeah, I mean, this card's great. Like, there's plenty of there's going to be plenty of targets for this. And this is a 2 mana, you know, way to deal with artifacts and enchantments out of your hand. So, again, I would take this one aggressively, too. The red one, I think, is by far the worst. The other ones are playable. The white one's really good. The green one's really good. The blue and the black ones are both, you know, good. And then the red one is just okay. But if I was still red, I would, you know, obviously play it. It's better than a mountain. Well, that does it, guys. That does it for our Kamigawa set. We've gone through every card in the past 2 days. It's a lot. But I'm really looking forward to getting into this. I want to play some of these artifact decks. I'm going to play some of these vehicle decks. I want to play, some of these samurai decks, ninjas and stuff. I can't wait. Cannot wait. So that's coming up in a few days. For the time being, you can check me out tomorrow and Wednesday. I'll probably be doing Crimson Vow drafts and just talking a little bit about the set. Giving it its farewell, which I think it deserves. It's not the best set ever, but I did have fun playing it. So we'll talk a little bit about it and do a couple more drafts there before we say adios to Crimson Vow. Yeah, and apart from that, check me out on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, whatever. Same tag everywhere. Dirty Durgle, 3 R's, 3 R's. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Smoke Pall Mall cigarettes. Hope you have a good Tuesday. And I'll see you tomorrow for some drafts. Alright, thanks for watching, guys.